Biden's 4th of July speech a dog whistle for the LGBTQ plus community. Your freedom is not guaranteed. Yesterday, President Biden gave his 4th of July speech with military families present. He spoke of how in the past 246 years, many have fought to lay the foundation for a better future. But that, quote, the worst of our past has reached out and pulled us back on occasion, end quote. He said that as long as America holds together with its values, especially the one that we are all created equal, that we will rise again. He touched on the shooting in Chicago, saying, quote, there is nothing guaranteed about our democracy, nothing guaranteed about our way of life. You have to fight for it, defend it, and vote for it to earn it. Watch this.
That's the American story. And you all know well, it's not a simple one. It never has been. It's often been the case that after we've taken giant steps forward, we've taken a few steps backwards. And after doing the hard work of laying the foundation for a better future, the worst of our past has reached out and pulled us back on occasion. Chief among those promises is the proposition that we are all created equal. We say that so often the time you're a kid in school. Sometimes we wonder sometimes if they're just rhetoric. But we're an idea, the only country based on an idea, not geography, not religion, not ethnicity, but an idea. We're all created equal. The laws are instituted among people to protect the vulnerable, to check those with power, and to guarantee the pursuit of justice. In recent days, there's been reason to think that this country is moving backward, that freedom is being reduced, that rights we assume were protected are no longer. A reminder that we remain in an ongoing battle for the soul of America, as we have for over 200 years. It's we the people, not a hollow phrase in America, we the people, doing all we can to ensure that the idea of America, the cause of freedom and justice and equality, does more than survive the divisions of our time, but that it shines like the sun to light up the future of our world. I know we can do this. I know many Americans look around today and see a divided country and are deeply worried about that fact. I understand, but I believe we're more united than we are divided.
Nice sentiment.
Not impressed.
Not impressed. I mean, not true at all.
Well, explain that.
Yeah.
Wait, before anyone else.
No,
what does that mean?
Well, like yesterday, my Facebook status was on this date in history, 1776. Straight, white, land-owning Christian males had their best day ever, and that's where it is. And I absolutely believe that. And the fact, I mean, this country has never believed we were all created equal, ever, on any level. It's a platitude, and it's a nice thing to idealize, but the fact is Republicans have positioned themselves so that they've got a mulligan or a do-over on the 1950s. And that does not spell good, anything good for any of us at this table.
That's why Jefferson called it the Great Experiment, though, because he knew that we were practicing something that needed to evolve and needed to grow and needed to be a hermeneutic reality moving forward.
Yeah, but Jefferson didn't believe that. He owned slaves. He owned a brutal slave regime where 12-year-old boys working in a nail factory were repeatedly whipped.
Yes, that is correct. But he did see errors with the system. Whether or not he saw all the errors and whether or not he participated in those errors, those are different conversations. His point, and the point I think of the founding peoples, were that we are in this process and we need to continue to make it better. What that means is going to depend on the time and the place in which these decisions are made. It's an Enlightenment document that it's meant to shed light on things, and it's meant to help us grow into a better place. I think Biden hits on that as well as he can.
A degree, I've known you for a while, a degree of optimism that I rarely hear you voice as clearly as what I just heard. You believe that there is that better nature in America.
I believe that we are inherently good, there are lots of things that make us bad.
Interesting.
Well, and to believe that in light of what happened yesterday, too, it does put a strain on that belief.
Yeah.
But yes, we the people, it's up to us. And as we say many times on this show, there's an election's coming up, vote.
Before we get into vote, and repeat vote, because no disrespect, but it's the easiest possible thing for us to say. Where's the LGBTQ community? He's talking to us. His quote about the worst of the past has reached out and pulled us back. He's talking to black people. He's talking to women. Non-evangelical. He's talking to women. He knows exactly what he's doing. Where are we to say, forgive me because I don't mean take up arms, because I don't mean taking up arms, but the philosophical idea of taking up arms in terms of our political activism, where is the LGBTQ community? Because I don't see it.
We're so fractured that it's just not there. And I hear this, and you all know that I will speak from many different lenses, but as a queer woman of color, hearing that nothing is guaranteed about our way of life, I'm like, I've known this for years, honey. You don't have to tell me that again. Nothing is guaranteed. And what's being shown now in terms of so many rights being rolled back for people of color, for women, for the queer community, that's just showing me that at the end of the day, they don't give a shit about people who look like me, who identify as me. Excuse my language, I'm trying not to cuss. I'm trying to be very, Also, it's just showing that there needs to be more done. And the question, like you said, where is the queer community? We've been fractured for years. Like after, same-sex marriage, for whatever reason, it seemed to be that, okay, we stopped.
Complacency.
Yeah, we got there, which that's not a bad thing, but it's not a great thing, because that means you can't move forward. You can't do anything else. Just because you hit that one goal, it's like, okay, what's your next goal? We need to keep going as a community, not as certain specific parts of the community. It needs to be one whole. It needs to be us as a whole actually saying this is what we want.
I'm curious for all of us, lesbian at the table, a queer woman at the table. Do you think our community in general has the anger level that I hear in her voice? And is the LGBTQ community anger level rising, or is that not the case?
I don't see it. I've said it before. I go to a lot of, for my job at SFGN, I go to a lot of community events, town halls, things like that. And it's always the same 20, 30, 40 people at the thing. And then I go to the bars, and it's always the same 300, 400, 500 people that I see at the bar. And those numbers are just not going to add up in our favor unless we get going.
So people like President Biden, where is he failing yesterday in that call to action to the LGBTQ community? Your freedom is not guaranteed. Your observation is, a bullet point for me. And the worst of the past is reaching out for you to pull you back. 1950s, your point. What does a president do if we're not willing to act ourselves?
I think a truly progressive president would reinvent the role and the way those speeches come about. The best thing Biden, I think, could have done was to say, hey, I'm not just going to be the talking head that is the typical person to give this. I'm going to invite other members of the community up here to talk with me and make this a powerful speech about us as a people.
Agreed. All he really did was just show that there is this division, and that at the end of the day, it seems like he's saying, hi, I'm your president. We have no hope. Vote for me next year. Like, where is the hope in that message? I got no hope. I'm just like, okay, so how close can I get to sweet?
Well, there's no hope to be had.
Yes.
But we have to make our own hope. We can't be looking to the president to do it.
True.
Maybe we're not seeing it here either. There might be actions being taken in other cities, other big cities. There might be marches and rallies that we're not aware of.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're Queer News Tonight. We'd be aware of it. We would be reporting it. If it was going on in Chicago, you would be aware of it. You would tell us about it. Newsom's call to action, we would talk about what's going on in West Hollywood or in the Castro. we talked about whether police could wear their uniforms in San Francisco, as opposed to the big issues that we face, and people can disagree. One last question related to this that I think is possible. Do you think there's lots of people that are saying in their social media, the problem with that speech is it's too late, that he's not the right person for the right moment. That if this was 30 years ago and he was 30 years younger, it would be a different situation. But in 2007, when a young black senator came on to the scene, he burned the house down. And everyone said, my goodness, there it is. We don't feel that today. We don't have that today. Do you? Lots is being said in our social media that we just don't have the leadership in our community or outside of our community to galvanize, and that's why they're beating the crap out of us. DeSantis is good at what he does.
He's good at getting his
Biden did what he needed to do. Our old white guy beat their old white guy. That's what we needed 2 years ago.
That's what we wanted, and we got it.
You know, and I don't know if this is a tangent or not, but I don't think Newsom will ever be the Democratic Party nominee for president. I don't think we'll ever nominate, aside from 2024 if Biden runs again, I don't think we'll ever nominate a straight white male for president again on the Democratic ticket.
And it's not because he's too progressive?
No, I just think, no, because our party is progressing, because we embrace Vice President Kamala Harris. You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but the United States as a whole has shown that when it comes to folks of color or anyone who is not a male, the likelihood of it being that they will actually get onto that ticket is slim. And when they do get onto that ticket, will they actually be voted into office? Because we did see with Hillary, let's not say that Hillary didn't have her shot. She had her shot, but it was a lot of stuff going on. Hillary, and this is where I am not tooting his horn, but I will say this. Trump had no problems with saying whatever the heck came to his mind. Hillary was very just, she held to what the Democratic Party is about. It's like, we're not going to get to that level, whereas Trump took the Republican Party to a totally different space. Where it's like, I'm going to say this, and you're not going to tell me I'm not going to say this because I have the right to say this because this is the First Amendment. I can do this.
Yeah, Michelle Obama was powerful when she said, when they go low, we go high. In 2022, that advice may absolutely fail us.
It's failing us already. I'm not saying we got to go low, because let me not say I don't believe in, playing a little dirty, because sometimes you got to play that way. You playing hide and seek, you got to make sure you go from one spot to the next. I'm sorry, I'm playing hide and seek again with a 2-year-old, so I got to know how to keep it interesting. But what we have to do is make sure that if we are going to be playing this game, we are playing it correct, and we are playing it as one singular party. Even though I don't believe all Republicans 100% fell behind Trump, they fell in the line real quick and were like, okay, this is what's happening. We're not going to question it. We're not going to say anything. We're just going to get into that party line.
And I agree. I think that we should not go low, but Al will definitely go down.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting to me that we apparently are drinking the Kool-Aid today at Queer News Tonight, and it's the day after our Independence Day. Lots of things are happening in the world, and this is a general reflection of, there's lots of things happening. Tomorrow will be better. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.